Hello there Internet, and welcome to an information video re Dragonloop, the Chinese 2-dev team indie Metroidvania that I recently finished playing. It took me just over 19 hours. I had some significant qualms with a couple of things in the game in terms of its localization and sound effects, but ended up putting the game in my S tier. It is, in my opinion, flawed for those two things mentioned, but in terms of gameplay, excellent. It feels great, it plays great, it has some of the most interesting mechanics that I have seen. It has some of the most interestingly combined and split Metroidvania powers that I have seen. I highly recommend you play it, especially for the low price of £7.50, unless you are the kind of person that needs absolute immersion in their gameplay experience, because I had to turn the music off because it was copyrighted. But even if I hadn't turned the music off, I've now played some of the game whilst I've been checking stuff for guides with the music on, and the music loops are quite short and they get a little bit annoying, and I'm hoping that if the game sells well, they'll be able to do something about getting better music, they'll be able to do something about getting more sound effects in. Because if there's one thing that you notice with the music turned off, it's that there's a lot of places where you'd expect to have a sound effect that don't have a sound effect. Does it ruin the gameplay experience? No. Does it really pull you out of the immersion in the game? Unfortunately, yes. Do I find fault in that? Yes. Was the game an S-tier game regardless of that? Also, yes. Let's very quick. This wasn't supposed to be a review video. This is me talking about guides. I'm going to talk to you today about the guides that I have made for this game, because I have now made several. So, here in my Google Drive, which you can access via demajen.co.uk/Dragonloop, capital D, capital L. My website is really finicky about capitalisation in that I don't know why. I really probably should look into it, but I haven't done. So these are the things currently available, and we'll get to the coffee.com stuff in a bit. These are the things that are currently available for free for anybody to go and check right now. Some of them aren't even very useful, and I've just put here for posterity, I suppose. So this is the original map file. This is what I found in the game files right back. Actually, I think this was from the actual demo. It's the same as the full game. This is not what the map looks like in-game at launch. It has an actual grid and borders and stuff. This was just the pure exploration mask. And I've left this here because it's quite interesting. Because on the 28th of June, 10 days after the game launched, they completely changed the map. I don't mean the layout of the map. I mean, they completely changed the map. So they must have spent over a week. And you can see it's the same map. But going from a grid-based map system to a detailed room map system. This is just what my map looks like in the game at the end of the game. So you can see everything. It's not a proper map. It's just a screenshot of the game that I removed the UI from, because I'm not going to say I'm clever, but I have the tools to do that. So that is a substantial difference. And it happened about... It might have been 3 hours into me playing the game, so I'd played maybe 3 hours worth of the game. And then, because I didn't start it at game launch, because I was worried about the translation, but I heard another couple of people tell me, yeah, it's actually quite good if you can look past the translation. It's like, oh, well, I want to try it now. So I did. I put out my 2 hours worth of Demajen tries, the first 2 loops. It's like, I really like the gameplay, but I'm being dragged out of it by the translation. And I'm glad I stuck with it, because as I said, one of the best Metroidvania experiences I've had. So they went from this, which clearly they either weren't happy with or had a lot of feedback on, and they turned it into this. Now, this must have taken a good chunk of time, because this is a properly drawn map, which I was really impressed with, and it really helped me find my way around the game. The problem was, of course, that I started off using this, and yeah, I spent close to 8 hours sorting out the map, because I actually didn't use this. I recreated the whole thing using the Blasphemous style. In fact, let me see if I've still got the file. Yeah, I do. There we are. I've managed to misspell the name of the game, of course. I shouldn't have pointed that out. Nobody was going to notice. So I spent 2.5 hours playing the game, and then I spent a couple of hours putting together completely redoing the background of the map in this Blasphemous style, which you'll notice is slightly different actually from the Blasphemous style that I've done in other maps, because of how densely packed the rooms are. And then I spent another 4 hours or so adding on, creating icons, and so on and so forth. And this was as far as I got before they changed things. So before they went from that to that. So before they got to this, I'd spent about 8 hours on the map. And it's like, okay, let's... But I didn't have to start from scratch. But I had to replace all of the background and then move everything into the correct spot. Because, of course, when you're doing a grid-based map like this, you just kind of guess. You guesstimate as to where things are. Whereas if you look at this is the actual map, you'll notice that obviously you are able to locate things in a much better way. So these are drawn at roughly the same scale. Roughly. But there's the stuff on here that is on here, because I hadn't found it at that point in time. All I'd done was the first 2 areas. Obviously, I'd seen the other areas. I glanced at these, but I forget areas that I haven't explored very easily, just in case you're wondering. So, these 2 are here essentially for kind of posterity. This is what it used to look like. This is what they turned it into for whatever reason. They're there. You can check them out. They're not very high resolution. It took me about 13-14 hours to get ending A of the game. And it made me think, and it made me kind of root, and it made me figure out how to do things. And I really appreciated that. And to help other people, because I know not everybody's going to enjoy that kind of thing. Just like people didn't enjoy Ultros in terms of its routing, I decided to write a walkthrough. So this is my full, and it is now full. It was only an ending A walkthrough when I first started it. This is now my full walkthrough of Dragonloop. It is not 100% walkthrough. It doesn't talk you through getting every single item, but it talks you through the main broad brushstrokes of things, and it does point out a few optional items as they go. So you've got the tutorial loops where I take you through some of the key ideas, the shops and so on and so forth. That needs changing because it's not actually quite right, I don't think. The broad strokes are there, but there's something about her inventory that's not quite right, and I need to go back and check some more of that. But it is a work in progress thing, as all of my guides tend to be. So we've got the day 1 loop, and then we've got the day 2 loop and the things that we pick up, and then we've got loops 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are the getting the major abilities loops, and again I talk you through the different things, any gimmicks, the key abilities that you pick up, some optional stuff that you can grab, and so on and so forth. And I've tried to make it as clear and straightforward as possible. Realistically, you'll want to use a map to help you with this if you are struggling. You could even use this one, because it's just about clear enough to help you out with that whilst I'm finishing up my kind of actual... There's a couple of things missing from this. You see, that's why this isn't available in the Google Drive yet. There's a couple of things that I am short of, and I'll talk about those in a second because I've got a guide on those as well. So, yeah, we've got the full 6, essentially getting all the abilities loops. We've got loops 7, 8, 9, and 10, which can essentially be done in any order, and they will help you get the remaining memory shards, and that will all help you get ending A. Now, the stuff for ending B, there's 3 stages to ending B. There's the getting all the extra bits and pieces, some of which you could technically find whilst you are doing the ending A stuff, if you explore. Some of which you might not. Either way is fine. It's a fun exploration game. It's got some fun mechanics to it. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, technically 7 if you miss the uppercut, but I've put the Rising Fist ability in the main walkthrough itself because I almost found it. I was literally half a screen away from noticing it when I was watching my footage back. So I decided, yeah, most people with a brain cell will actually find this. I don't have a brain cell anymore. So we've got how to get all of the additional things that you will need, apart from maybe the black hole ability. But you will need all of these other things in order to make either life easier or literally they are mandatory in order to get ending B. After you've got those, then there's the ending B starter quest, i.e. how to unlock the ability to get the second ending, because until you do this, you can't get it, because you need to ring all 6 dragon bells in the game, and you can't do it without a way of ringing them. That's what the starter quest is for. And then there's 5 days worth of steps for how to do that. And the text guide does an okay job, I think, of that, but just in case it doesn't, I also put together, not that, this is how you unlock the quest for the true ending, and this is how you actually do the true ending, both in picture format and obviously you've got the text format as well. What else have I got on here? We'll come back to the spreadsheet. So this is the time map. In game, you will get the ability to use the time map to basically teleport to different save points or different what they're called time corridors at different times. There's multiple different routes of getting to each one. You'll see that some of them show up in multiple days. Some of them show up in different versions depending on what series of events you're doing. Again, these are all talked about in the walkthrough. For example, Heart Machine, day 4 if you follow this route, or Heart Machine, day 4 if you follow this route. But this one's got Start Brain on to show that something is different. It's really, really cool, and I really enjoyed seeing how this grew as the game progressed. This is just what mine looks like right now after ending B. There are some random things that are there on their own that aren't connected up to things because they're not part of a set. Something interesting is going on in this route timeline. At least I think that's how it's working. I'm not entirely sure. But if you're missing something, you've got the different routes to get to the memory shard fragment things, all of which are listed in the walkthrough. But there's also other routes as well, some of which give you unique items. So hopefully that will be useful for people as well. So we've got 2 maps. We've got the full walkthrough in text. We've got the time map. And we have got the 2 ending B guides. The final thing in here, if it'll load in, is the Antiques map. Antiques, they're charms from Hollow Knights. They're actually called amulets in the game files. So clearly that's what they were going for. But the actual English localization is antiques. They are things that are put on a shelf in the time corridor. There's 6 spaces, so you can equip 6 of them. As far as I'm aware, there's no way of expanding it, and I am missing 2 of them. Now you'll notice something a little bit odd about this page, this is laid out exactly as it is in the game, and you'll see things like there's 3 tri-flames up at the top, and there's one down here, and there's one over here. There's some bracelets all in a row, but there's also one down here. There's some seeds all in a row up here, but there's also... I don't know why they are arranged like this, but this is how they are arranged on the screen in the game. Which meant that in order to actually put this together, I had to go through my footage again and hope that I had checked the amulets or the antique screen often enough so that I could figure out which went where. There was one occasion where I got 2 different ghost hands before I looked at the shelf again, so I actually had to run through the game again, at least up to a certain point, to make sure that I know which way round those 2 go. Obviously, if they reorganise this, I'm basically going to have to play the game again in a very specific way in order to figure out what goes where. But I've got 2 missing, and because this one here and this one here are missing, my map is not complete. It's got everything else on, as far as I know, except these 2. There's no percentage counter in game. There's no tracker for these things, so I don't know where they are. Chances are they're hidden behind a wall or hidden behind a mini game or something that I just haven't found. Let's talk about mini games and finding stuff, because one of the things that the game does really nicely after a certain point is that it unlocks the ability in your map screen to see what the map looks like on each of the 5 days. And that's important because, and we'll use this one at the bottom for an example because it's nice and easy. In this zone, the mechanical city, it's flooding. And on days 1, 2 and 3, that's fine. But on day 4, certain areas start to flood. And on day 5, even more areas start to flood. So you have these things that are called time remnants, where you can see what the game will look like, what the world will look like on different days. So down at the bottom, this area here where you find the Merfolk boss, that's submerged on days 4 and 5. This here is submerged on day 5 only. This is submerged on 4 and 5. This is submerged on 5 and submerged on 5. So all these barriers here are representative of the fact that there are certain things that are only open or closed on certain days. These are all marked on the map. The other things that change, though, are huts. There's little huts all over the place. Some of these have got mini games in. And again, they're only accessible on certain days. Sometimes the NPC, like this one here where there's a seeds thing, the NPC there is only there on a specific day. Now, in some cases, like up here in the library, the Ghost Hands antique that you can find there is actually on the floor. It's just on the floor. But on other days, there's actually a mini game there which you have to play to get the antique. So it's possible that somewhere there is a mini game that I have missed. The thing is, though, that I've cleared all of the huts on the map, which means that it's possible there's either a hidden challenge that I've missed, because there's 2 types of challenges in the game. There are challenges involving flowers that you have to light up all of in order to reveal an item. And there are these little kind of pedestal idol type things that you can interact with. And again, they will usually give you something good for a reward, either an antique or a piece of heart style thing or something along those lines. But I'm missing 2. I'm missing these 2. And of course, because the game is, let's say, poorly localized for the English audience, there's not many English-speaking people that seem to have actually played this game. Which I get, I understand. It's not going to be for everyone. They'll see something that is not particularly well translated in the first 5-10 minutes, and they'll go, "Oh no, this is some kind of slop. We don't want this," and they'll just turn it off. Which is a shame, because it's actually a really good game. But it does mean that there are two things that I can't find, because whilst I've had a post on the Steam forums for the last 3-4 days at this point, nobody's responded to it, because there's no community. There's nobody actually pushing past the localization, realistically. So if you do know where these two antiques are, could you let me know, please, so I can go looking for them myself and get the details properly down, because it's bugging me. And short of going through every single room in the game and hitting every single wall, I'm not entirely sure there's a way of finding out what it is that I have missed. So, those are the 5, technically I suppose kind of 6 if you count that as a guide, but I don't really. Those are the 5 free guides that are available on my website right now. Let's talk the other people don't like. mycoffee.com. There's still a lot of people that are very antagonistic about this. I had a comment the other day saying that I was a scam artist and a predator, which was nice, calling me a predator because I was putting a load of work in. They didn't say this. That I was, making money and predating of people that just want to play video games. It's like, it always boils down to, if you don't want to buy the maps, don't. You either wait, or you find out how to do what you want to do for yourself. That is my kind of way of thinking at this point. I've got past the maybe I should gear everything for free right now. No, I release things on my schedule when I want to. If you don't like it, that's fine. Downvote the video, whatever. Plenty of people do. It's quite disheartening, in a way, seeing 30, 50, 75 hours work. People were downvoting my Axiom Verge map video for that big composite map that I spent 75 hours putting together. Oh, you're not giving it away for free. Downvote, downvote, downvote. I'm going to try and keep this video swearing free, but you can probably take a guess as to what I want to tell those people to do. Anyway, I make barely any money off YouTube, so whatever. Let's take a look at the actual map that I've put together for Dragonloop. This is not a 100% map. I've got no way of checking if it is a 100% map, even if I had got those 2 antiques, because there is no percentage counter in game. Somewhere on this map there are 2 more antiques, but otherwise we have got, as you might expect, everything that I could find. If there are more things that are hidden, let me know. If you found something, I did find at one point, in fact it's this one here, this currency bag only seems to be there on a certain day, which kind of makes me think that there might be certain things that are in certain places on certain days, but the only way of checking that is to check every single room in the game on every single day, and that would require a lot of time and a lot of work, and I don't have it. There's also this bead here, which I've left a note on it. I don't know where this comes from. I noticed it in my footage as I was running back through to do my true ending stuff. It wasn't there previously. I don't know why it is there, but I put it on the map anyway. If it doesn't show up for you, yeah, it is what it is. So we've got the Dragon Bells marked on, we've got key items, we've got the currency bag upgrades, we've got the iCore bag upgrades. There's 2 currencies in this game. There's souls, which are souls, and are used to purchase upgrades for your bracelet stuff, as well as to buy maps and compasses and other bits and pieces. And we have Ichor, which is used to upgrade your elves. Elves is a weird term. Essentially, they are summons. You get loads of summons in the game. They're all on this map with a nice big red border and telling you how to get them. There's a weird number of them. I can't remember exactly how many, but there's loads of them, and they all do different things, and you can upgrade each of them for up to, I think, level 4, which maxes it out. And then they evolve and they become stronger, and you get like a little Pokemon style, such and such is evolving screen, which I find quite amusing every time I do it, because I'm a simple man. What else have we got on here? We've got notes as to how to get certain things. We've got barriers to show you when things are and are not open. We get all the amulets on here. Well, all but 2 of the amulets on here at time of recording this video. Any little green hearts are pieces of... Essentially, they're... Rather than pieces of heart, they're pieces of Estus flask. So you get seeds which you can plant to grow a healing flower in combat. It takes a little while. It's not my favourite system in the game, it has to be said. But if you get 4 of these, you don't get an extra use of that healing ability. It adds an extra healing flower to when you use it. So let's say at the start of the game you plant this healing flower and it blossoms with 1 flower, 1 lily on it. And then once you've collected 4 of these, it blossoms with 2 lilies on it. And when you've collected 8 of them, it gets 3 lilies on. And when you've collected all 12, it gets 4 lilies on. And each lily heals you for a certain amount of HP. So it's a way of upping the potency of it, which I quite like, even if I have my reservations about the length of time that it actually takes those flowers to blossom. What else have we got on here? We've got Kima. She's the map merchant. She will sell you maps. She'll sell you a secret map. She will sell you a compass, which shows you icons for pretty much everything in the game that's not a collectible. It doesn't show you the location of beads. It doesn't show you the location of breakable walls or soul bags or ichor bags or anything like that. It just shows you set locations of the elves. It shows you the lampstands, which are kind of temporary checkpoints. It shows you the locations of the dragon bells. It shows you locations of... Can I see one? Yeah, there's some dragon stones over here. It shows you the location of those as well. It all builds up. It all builds up, and it's quite useful. It's quite useful. We've got main bosses. We've got specific places. A lot of stuff is actually already drawn on the map anyway. We've got special barriers that need knocking down. I had to make a few custom icons for this one. But yeah, I'm not going to show you too much of it. But everything is on here. The only things that aren't on here are the routes for this. And this. You know, the text is on there, in a manner of speaking. You know, stuff about opening things up is on here, but actual drawn routes aren't on here because that would make this a real mess. So it's probably best used in combination with the text-based walkthrough on the map, or just use it as is. This is currently, as of the 3rd of July, at 11:30 in the morning. Don't know why I'm saying that. You can literally see the time there. This is only available in mycoffee.com shop. It will be available for free, as per usual, on my website when it is finished. I.e., when I have found those last 2 antiques. Or until a week or so has passed. If I just can't find them, I will release a free version just as it is and say it's not complete. It's not 100%. As I said, there's no in-game percentage counter. I've got no way of knowing if there are more beats or if there are more X, Y, or Z. You know, I don't know if there's any more ichor bags hidden around. I don't know if there are any more soul bags hidden around. I can't even remember off the top of my head how many max I've got of each of those things. There could be more. I've got no way of checking, so I'm not advertising this as 100% map, even when I find those last 2 antiques, because there might be more things out there. But even as is, there is enough to finish the game. I've been talking for 30 minutes now. This was supposed to be a shorter video. I've got to stop doing this. It is wrecking my throat. So, as per usual, you can go to demajen.co.uk, check out all of the maps that I've got listed on the front page. These are all of the games that I have mapped. Some of them have got high quality versions in the store, some of them do not. In the top right hand corner, you've got a little icon saying, yeah, this is the tier that I've put it in. Dragonloop goes in the S tier. It's also on my tier list page. Each of them has got a little tooltip over them to tell you what I liked and didn't like about it. That's the one for Dragonloop, should you not be bothered to go and do it for yourself. My retrospective page for this year has only got 15 games on it, which is a little bit lacking compared to, say, 2024, which ended up with 40 games, but it's looking to be a little bit lighter of a year. By this time last year, I'd mapped 14 games. I hadn't realised that. So actually, I've mapped more games this... Admittedly, at least one of these games, Axiom Verge, is an older game, and The Siege in the Sand, as is Astronauts. Cookie Cutter is a refresh, and The Siege in the Sandfox I haven't actually mapped. I've just put up the actual games map from the files into the folder. So realistically, that doesn't count. Yeah. Upcoming games. Shadow Labyrinth is out soon, as is Star Rift Saga. I will be trying both of those out. Eterna Lucis is out in September. Probably not going to be playing that because I didn't really like the first game, but we'll see how it goes. I'm done for the day. If any of you know where these 2 antiques are, do please let me know. If you've 100%ed the game, or if you've finished the game and you've got everything, please at least give me a hint as to where they might be. As I said, I've got the locations of all of the others, so if you think of something that's like, oh, he doesn't seem to have that, please let me know, because it's going to drive me nuts otherwise. That has been my guides video of Dragonloop. S tier Metroidvania. Super fun, but lacking in localization and immersion. You can probably hear my voice sounding different from what it did at the start of the video. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go and rest it now. I'm so ill. Cheerio! Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.